this morning to welcome a woman who has been my meditation teacher for about 15 years, and a Unity licensed teacher and executive at Unity headquarters until the year 2000, when she retired and founded the Center for Enlightenment. Many of you have benefited from her teachings, the spiritual power tools, the 7 steps, the iceberg, the spiritual thermometer, and many of the other tools that we've shared here, meditation CD, all come out of her consciousness. And she's blessing us by coming here today to share her wisdom with us. It's a great privilege and an honor for me to welcome my teacher, Jane Hart.
I just got to be down among you. It's so wonderful to have your presence in here. You don't have any idea how much you are blessing each other in an area of the higher dimension of yourself. You know, when I began this journey, my big question 45 years ago was, why God? Why God? And we're all created equal, but I'm not feeling it. Why God, if we're all one, and I'm not feeling very oneness with anyone? Why God, is my neighbor off of work and doesn't have a job and can't support his family when there's everybody else in our neighborhood is flourishing? And why God, wasn't I created being able to play the piano when I tried so hard, when all my other friends could play instruments? Why not me? I don't understand this. Why? I wanted to know why. What is happening in this universe? If there is a God, why don't I feel it? Why isn't it a part of my very essence and being? That's what the church tells me. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the love for everybody I am supposed to feel. Why? Am I not this dynamic spiritual being that I'm supposed to be? And I have all these problems, and I don't know how to solve them. And so I said, please, God, help me. Help me to understand what it's all about. Because there's something in my soul that says there's a more, and I want to find out what that more is. And I will find out what that more is. So I began the meditation process. I began to still my mind and go through all the things that we do to find that connection, that inner connection with God. And I worked at it, and I was invited to speak. I was in the Methodist Church at the time, and I was invited to speak about spiritual healing, which I knew nothing about. And the minister said, well, you read a book on spiritual healing and give a book report. Oh, okay, I can do that. So I got Agnes Sanford's book on spiritual healing, and I got it out and read it, and thought, this is very interesting. And I was on a panel with other people to talk about the different aspects of God. And so my part was to talk about healing, which I knew nothing about. So anyway, there was a lady there from Unity Church in Toledo that was part of the panel. So she came and sat down with me, and we introduced ourselves, and it was my turn to give my book report. So there I was giving my book report, and after I gave my 15-minute book report, she got up. And she said, well, Jane has covered everything I wanted to talk about, so I'll take questions and answers. So there was all these questions, and I was so glad I wasn't the one that had the answers. And she took over, and I was just absolutely enthralled that this woman knew all this stuff. And so after the class was over, I said, could I have your telephone number? Could I call you? And she said, well, of course you can. I thought, oh, that's wonderful. So a week later, I called her. And I said, I'd really like to get together with you. And she said, oh, that would be wonderful. I've been looking for a prayer partner. And I thought, wow, that sounds good. So we got together, and we began meditating once a week together as a unit. And then every day at 1 o'clock, we would meditate in our separate homes as we were, after our children were down for the nap. So what happened was, as we began meditating, we began to get the same kind of vibe, and the same kind of inspiration, and the same kind of inner voice that was starting to develop in us. And we would call each other and say, do you know what I got this today in meditation? And she would get the exact same thing. And we were miles apart. And this was curious. We were very curious about this. And so we continued meditating, and as we continued meditating, we were very guided to spend more time together and meditate in a quiet place where we could really focus on our meditation. And so we began doing this. Well, one day we were meditating, and we got picked up in this great white light. It was like a vibration, an energy that we had never, ever experienced before. And we thought, oh my God, what's happening to us? It was so bright it blinded us. We just couldn't even open our eyes, and this energy and this light and this power and strength was coming down in our room, and we were saying, oh my God, what's going on? I feel so strange. And all of a sudden, the light went in. And here we were. I turned and looked at her, and I said, Sherry, what happened? I got a message. And she said, I got one too. And we were really afraid that we were going to influence each other. So what we did was, okay, like two little girls, write your message down on a piece of paper, and when we say 3, we go boom, see what our messages are. So we wrote our little, we were so silly. We all went, there we were, said the same thing. The veil is lifted. The veil is lifted. Well, we went into a frenzy trying to figure out what the veil was, and how it was going to be lifted, and who was going to lift it, and were we having to lift the veil. So this went on. We began to read books and try to figure out what the veil was, and we never got to figure out what the veil was until one day, 3 weeks later, Sherry calls me on the phone, and she said, Jane, I was meditating early this morning at 5:36, and I saw you in my meditation, and I started crying, and I kept saying, thank you, God, thank you for bringing her back into my life. And she said, I kept saying that, and I don't even understand what that means, but I want to tell you that I have such a deep feeling for you that's very weird, because I feel like I found my long-lost friend, and I've only known you for about 6 months, 8 months. So she said, come on over this afternoon, and let me talk to you about this. So I came in, knocked on her door, and she opened the door. She looked at me, and she said, oh, she started crying. She put her arms around me and said, Michael, I'm so glad you're home. And I thought, just a second. I said, this is a little weird. And she said, oh my God, I don't know why I said that. And I said, I don't know why you said it either. But she said, come on in. And she couldn't stop crying. She couldn't stop crying. And so we sat down on her sofa, and she proceeded to tell me about Michael. And she proceeded to tell me what her name was. And through all this, we were like scared. And we were not sure what was going on with us. And we were frightened that we were in some sort of warped energy that we shouldn't have been in, and what's happening to us. Then she told me that Michael, it was the year 1000 in the Crusades, had left her and gone off to the Crusades and never came back for her. And she said, and I'm so angry with you because I waited all my life for you and you never showed up again. And she said, well, Jane, I don't know why I'm saying this. I feel this so passionately. She said, do you think we had an incarnation? Do you know anything about incarnation? no, I never even kind of studied or heard about it. She said, well, I think the Unity Church teaches something about reincarnation, but I've never studied it. But we kind of continued talking, and she said, I am so angry with you, I have to forgive you. And I said, okay, Sherry, you want to forgive me? That's fine. So she started to say, I don't know what to do, but I am going to wash your feet and forgive you and see if that'll help me forgive you. And that was really weird to have someone say, I want to wash your feet. Okay, but, why not? So it was very humbling for me to let her wash my feet. It was just a very interesting experience. And when she got through, she looked at me and she says, it's done. It's done. I've forgiven you. I know I've forgiven you. And she just put her arms around me and we hugged each other, and I'm still scratching my head because I don't know what's going on. So I thought, okay, we said goodbye, and the next day I'm meditating. And all of a sudden I see this little cute little girl with long curls standing behind our iron gate with this really weird outfit on. And I thought, what is that? And I had such an experience with that girl. I just felt like I knew her, and I felt so sorry for her. And I kept saying, oh, honey, that's okay. And then all of a sudden, I realized that little girl was me. And as I realized it, I said, oh, my God, what's happening to me now? And I called Sherry. Sherry, I'm coming over. There's something going on with me today. So I went over to her house, knocked at the door, and she comes to the door, and I said, Mother, why did you leave me there? And she said, whoa, what are you talking about? And I said, you know what I'm talking about. Why did you leave me there? And I was so passionate about it. I was so angry. And so she said, just a minute. She said, come on in, sit down, and let's talk. So we sat down, and she said, what are you talking about? And I said, I'm feeling very much like you were my mother, and you had left me in this, I said, convent. And you never came back after me. You just left me. And she said, oh, okay. And I said, you know what? I have to forgive you. I have to forgive you for leaving me in the convent. Because now, we were a little bit wiser and we knew something. That there was forgiveness in this package. The veil was lifted between our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. And so that is where the 9/10 subconscious that you are, is where all your past lives are stored. Everything that you've ever done, everything you've ever thought of, through the very evolution of your soul, all those things are there. And in that instant that I had that spiritual experience, as Sherry had had her spiritual experience the day before, we suddenly realized we weren't who we thought we were. And that was very scary. Wow. If I'm not Jane and you're not Sherry, and we've got all these other incarnations, who am I? Who am I really? I was at awe. Who am I? I am not who I thought I was. And I'm playing in a game that I don't know what the rules are. I am incarnating over and over again, and I'm not sure how to play this game in the world. What are the rules? The rules of cause and effect. I was under a rule called cause and effect. Karma. Karma that I was doing. Karma that was there for me to learn and grow and to forgive. And through this very interesting process, which I'm shortening greatly, I began to understand that I was like this, moving, 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 and moving through time and space, growing and understanding more of who I was, an individualized expression of God. I was not Jane. I was God incarnate. You are God incarnate. That's who you really are. You are God incarnate. God is you and you are God. And as I began to move into this greater understanding of who I was, I began to see how interconnected we all are. We aren't separate units. We are one spiritual unit. At a higher dimension, you can see how all the lights in this room are all blended and come into a great umbrella of love and light that surrounds this very room that we're in. We are individualized expressions of God. God is breathing life in us. We are breathing life into the universe. And it's an ebb and a flow that comes and works through us to move us forward. We're here to learn and to grow and to become God conscious. God conscious. And that is an interesting expression. God conscious. What does that really mean to become God conscious? What kind of avenue do I have to go down to find that to be true for my spiritual being? So as I journeyed through the dimensions of my past and into the present moment, I was unfolding. I was unfolding. I was becoming pure beingness, the pure beingness of my soul. And I was just using this little personality called Jane, just using it as my vehicle to walk around the planet. And eventually, I'll move out of this vehicle and move into my next state of being. Another state of being. We've evolved. And when we acknowledge that we're souls evolving, wonderful, exciting things come forth for us. Because when we really get serious about our journey, we get all kinds of help from beyond. All kinds of help from beyond that connects with us and supports our journey. And I know that Lynn is going to be teaching reincarnation in June. And you'll be studying a syllabus that I put together when I went to Unity Village on reincarnation. When I went to Unity Village to become a licensed teacher, we had to teach a course in order to graduate. And so one of the books was A Case for Reincarnation by Freeman. And I was so excited to get that book because this was in 1990. And my journey started in 1967, so I knew a lot about reincarnation and how the evolution of the process works and everything. So I thought, I am going to teach this book. And I got it out and I read it, and it was interesting, but he didn't tap into some of the things that I had already learned about. So I went down into the archives of Unity Village, and I worked for about 5 months, pulling out everything that Charles Fillmore had to say about reincarnation and how in 1891, he said, I was Paul, and I know I was Paul in another incarnation. And he wrote all about reincarnation. There's all kinds of information that Charles Fillmore put out on reincarnation. And I was so excited that I found put the syllabus together, that it helped me in teaching, but it also helped others to open the door to that possibility, because it was a foreign possibility to me. I had no education on it, and if I hadn't had this experience, I probably wouldn't be so passionate about it. But understanding that I am a individual expression of God, expressing all that I am at any given moment in time and space, and everything I'm doing is here for one purpose, is to teach me, to learn, And forgiveness is the major, absolute major thing you want to remember. If there's anybody in your life, your children, your boss, whoever it is, and you have any kind of disconnection with them, start your forgiveness work, because they probably are with you, had been with you in another life, playing a different role. And so even my children, who were, a couple of them were my mother and father in another lifetime. And they're here again. And, the problems I had with them way back then, I had to work out now. And so everything has a reason. Everything has a purpose. And we are evolving. And we are becoming more consciously aware of who we are. And because you are sitting here today, because you are interested in moving in consciousness, everything is a state of moving in consciousness. No matter what we do or how we do it, we are moving in consciousness. We have so much more power than we believe we have. I am here today to empower you on your journey, to give you a hope, to give you inspiration, and to say, yes, there is a more. And yes, every step I take, I know I will have to let go of that step to move into the next step. And then let go of that step to move into the next step. And every step you take, you are becoming more God conscious. Because God is God, wanting to be one with you and you one with it, the substance of the universe. It. What do we want to call God? It. What? God is. I love it. Pure beingness. That's what we are. We are pure beingness. This is our life. This is our love. This is the time when new things are going to be happening to you. You are empowered to become whole. Whole in God. God awareness. God consciousness. And God beingness. So will you join with me in a meditation as we just relax now? I say a lot of words. Lots and lots of words. But who we are speaks so much louder than any word we can say. So as we slowly but surely just completely let go of this day for this moment and move into the presence, the God presence within you, which is part of you that exists and always has existed. For eons and eons and eons of time you have been, and you will be, and you shall be one. One in this energy. And today, this very day, I empower your very soul to push you forward, support you, give you the courage, the tenacity to move your consciousness. It's a soul's responsibility. It's our responsibility to take charge as an evolution of our soul. Because once we become in charge of it, we can move so much faster, so very much faster. And so as we take a deep breath right now, we move into our very soul of being. Our soul of being. We are one. We are one power, one strength, one vibration. We are the universe expressing. We are the cosmic consciousness of this planet. We are awakening, slowly but surely, but we are awakening to all that we are. All that we are. So in the silence of our being, we just say, thank you, God. Thank you, me, for being me. So just say that to yourself. Thank you, me, for being me and supporting me on this journey. Thank you. Bless yourself in your prayer. Thank you for being me and empowering me, giving me strength and courage to do that which is mine to do. And thank you for ever being present in me. Ever being present in me. And I take a deep breath, and I honor myself. And I say, thank you for supporting me all these eons of time. And I will honor this part of me that is working to become more spiritually alive in every aspect of my life. Now, as we move into the sanctuary of the heart, this very sanctuary is filled